The soft glow of the setting sun poured through the curtains, casting a golden light over the room. The incense burned quietly, its scent weaving through the air like a delicate whisper. On the couch, the stepmother sat cross-legged, her eyes closed in quiet meditation. Her movements were fluid and graceful, every br. When the front door creaked open, she didn't need to look. She knew it was Lucas, her stepson, his footsteps slow, almost hesitant. There was something about his energy tonight that felt different, something that tugged at her attention. She opened her eyes slowly, meeting his gaze as he entered the room. He stood there for a moment, unsure, his hands shoved deep into his pockets, his expression heavy with something she couldn't quite place. "Lucas?" she called gently, her voice smooth like silk. "Come here. Something's wrong, isn't it?" He hesitated before walking over to her, his shoulders slumped, as if the weight of his own emotions was too much to bear. He sat down on the couch beside her, but there was a subtle distance between them, an invisible line that he didn't dare cross. "Hey, what happened?" she asked softly, her gaze unwavering as she studied his face. "You look different. Not yourself." Lucas sighed deeply, running a hand through his hair. "I broke up with Emma," he muttered, his voice distant. It was just too much. I don't know what to do with myself now." Her eyes softened with empathy, but there was something else in her gaze, a flicker of something playful. "Ah, young love," she said with a teasing smile, her voice light and almost flirtatious. "Always so dramatic." He chuckled bitterly, but it was clear he appreciated her attempt to ease the tension. "Yeah, I guess so. But it's not just the breakup. It's everything. I don't even know what to feel anymore." The stepmother leaned slightly closer, her presence comforting yet undeniably magnetic. "I understand," she said with a small, knowing smile. "Sometimes you just need to clear your mind, let go of all the clutter." She glanced at him, her eyes locking onto his for just a moment too long. "Would you like me to help you with that?" "A little." "Meditation?" Lucas raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued but also a little unsure. "Meditation?" He seemed almost hesitant, but there was something in her voice, something about the way she said it, that made him curious. She nodded, her gaze never leaving his. "Trust me. It's the best way to free yourself from all that. The pain, the confusion, the thoughts that swirl in your head. It's all about focus." She stood up, the fluidity of her movement drawing his eyes to her. "I'll show you." Lucas followed her with his eyes as she walked toward the hallway, his pulse quickening at the sight of her every movement. When she returned, she was no longer in the casual outfit she had been wearing. She had changed into something more form-fitting, a tight, sleek suit that hugged her body in all the right places, accentuating every curve. Her posture was confident, her steps deliberate. She knew exactly what she was doing. "You're sure about this?" Lucas asked, his voice now tinged with something else, something he couldn't quite name. She smiled, a mischievous glint dancing in her eyes. "You don't have to be nervous, Lucas. Just relax," she said, her tone playful. "We're here to clear your mind, remember?" He couldn't tear his eyes away from her as she settled back down on the couch beside him. The air between them felt charged, thick with an unspoken tension that neither of them acknowledged, but both of them felt. "Close your eyes," she instructed, her voice soft and soothing. "Breathe with me. Focus only on the breath. Let everything else fade away." Lucas did as she said, but his mind was anything but clear. His thoughts were tangled in the way she looked at him, the way her body seemed to fit so perfectly against the cushions, the way her scent seemed to envelop him like a warm embrace. Her voice guided him gently through the meditation, her words slow and deliberate, as if she were speaking just for him. "Focus on the tension in your body," she whispered, her breath brushing his ear. "Feel it. Now, let it go. Feel it dissolve with every exhale." He obeyed, trying to concentrate, but the closeness between them, the intimacy of her voice, was making it difficult to focus. He could feel the warmth of her body just inches from his, her presence overwhelming in a way he hadn't expected. "Do you feel it?" she asked softly, her breath warm against his skin. She was so close now, her body angled toward him, her face mere inches from his own. Lucas opened his eyes for a brief moment, meeting her gaze. There was a dangerous, intoxicating spark between them, an undeniable tension that neither of them could escape. Her lips parted slightly, and for a fleeting moment, he thought she might say something else, something that would break the spell. Instead, she smiled, a small, knowing smile, and leaned in just a little closer, her voice dropping to a hushed whisper. "Relax, Lucas. Focus. Let the tension melt away." But Lucas couldn't help it. The air between them crackled with something electric. He was caught in the web of her gaze, lost in the warmth of her presence. Every breath she took seemed to pull him deeper into something he couldn't understand, something he wasn't sure he wanted to resist. I think I'm starting to get it," he said, his voice low, almost breathless. She smiled, her eyes twinkling with mischief, as if she knew exactly what was happening between them. "Good. Now let's see if we can clear your mind completely." Her touch was light when it rested on his hand, but the effect it had on him was immediate. Every nerve in his body seemed to come alive, every inch of him aware of her. He swallowed hard, trying to keep his thoughts focused on the meditation, but it was becoming more difficult by the second. Her presence was overwhelming. The tension between them thickened, both of them caught in an unspoken dance of proximity, intimacy, and something else, something deeper, darker, and infinitely more dangerous. And neither of them knew how far it would go.